Alright guys, now that I'm out, time for some actual commentary. Yo, I got bodied against Cheap, I'm not gonna lie. I played so much better in group phase, but I don't know. I feel like I played well enough to have deserved top 4, is what I'm gonna say. Oh yeah, I should probably turn off my music, huh? Yeah. Okay, let me pull this bad boy up. Here we go. We got the other semifinal, Noel against Salubris. Not gonna lie, given that I went 1-0 with Noel, uh, should have been a third seed. Just messing around. Uh, but yeah, can't wait to see how this bad boy turns out. Projecting a win for Salubris, but he isn't the best all spins player, so we'll see how that turns out. And yeah, here we go. Looks like they're starting it here. Oh, Noel, is that going for a PC right there? Don't exactly know what he's doing. I know I tried to do that a lot of the time, but all spins is a very interesting mode, especially when you're not used to it, which is I think what most of the which is something that's true for most of these players. But yeah, Salubers, I guess sticking with the Tetris stack, which actually makes a lot of sense, before you go off and build something crazy and make a bunch of misdrops, might as well just play it safe, right? And it definitely seems to be working. Noel's stack looking worse than mine against that's not true. Okay, my stack was pretty bad. Let's not talk about that one. But yeah, Noel playing like he's trying to downstack, but there's just a lot of errors I feel just in his play. I don't know if that's because he's trying to implement all spins a lot into his play. Oh, and misdrop on the T spin there. And yeah, it just seems to be working out a lot better for Salubers. And yeah, Saluber's making trying to instead of trying to incorporate all spins into his playstyle in general, he seems to be making small adjustments for the all spins. I feel, and that seems to be working out real nice for him. Like still focusing mainly on T spins here, but when he sees like a nice little all spin thing, he'll go for it. And I mean that was how I intended to play. For me, it didn't work out as much, but we'll see. But for Salubrious, it definitely does look like it is working out. And yeah, playing very solid here. Double the line sent compared to Noel, who just seems to be struggling, trying to get down to his trash. Does manage to finally, but it may be just a little too late. Just too little too late, given Salubris' huge lead. But as I say that, pretty big misdrop from Salubris. We'll see if he's able to clean that up cleanly. But it does look like he's able to. Nice little 5 combo there to get him out of the, and a nice T-spin double there too, to get him out of the sort of pickle he was in. And yeah, that's going to be pretty clean game 1 from Salubris against Noel. We'll see if game 2 is the same, or whether Noel is able to adapt to what Salubris is throwing at him. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right, here we go. Looks like we're getting into game 2 here. And Noel trying to get these perfect clears, it seems. I wonder why. Because I think they're pretty unreliable in all spins. Maybe he just sees his chances of winning as relatively low from the start. But as I say that, well, Noel got a pretty nice early lead, but Saluber's able to come right back and throw another KO at him. Yeah, Saluber's literally just stacking Tetrises. I wonder if that's a smart move, but again, I think just because he's so much faster than Noel, it does seem to be working out pretty well here. Where Noel is trying to build all these complex T-spins and making a lot of mistakes. Salubris is just stacking Tetrises, and it definitely seems to be working from the results we're seeing here. And yeah, making a T-spin there finally, but yeah, T-piece takes forever there. Um, we'll see if Salubris is able to get through all of this so that he doesn't have to accept sort of a tying of the KO lead, um, so that he doesn't have to worry as much about his line sent. But very nice down stacking spike there from Salubris. But as I say that, again, very close to topping out here. and that is a top out for Noel in Noel's favor. So that's a tie in KOs. We'll see if Noel is able to make the lines come back or get another KO here. But the way things are looking, 30 seconds to go, it's not looking easy. So Lubris is going to have to make some mistake. As I say that, a couple of unfortunate misdrops there. Yeah, Noel coming back in both lines sent and in KOs. Very close game here. So Lubris just got to get through all that. And yeah, very close here. 8 seconds remaining. So Lubris could just stall here, but that doesn't seem like him. Oh, there you go. Double Tetris, I think. And that's going to seal the deal on game 2. But Noel definitely making a lot better, far better decisions there. Less misdrops than in the first game, and almost was able to come back. So we'll see if Noel's at least able to take a game, or whether Salubris is just going to sweep. Yeah, I wonder if I can convince Noel to play for third place. I hope so. We'll see. Yeah, here we go. Game 2 starting off. So Lubris with a 4-wide. Interesting. Uh, Not a player known for a 4-widing ability. Oh, unfortunate misdrop as well in the 4-wide. Um, but, oh, unfortunate misdrop of the eyepiece there. Had such a clean set of garbage there, but unable to capitalize on it. And, yeah, Salubris does look like he's going to be having a little bit of trouble here. We'll see if he's able to come back from his sort of deficit. Uh, but yeah, Noel pushing pretty hard so far. So it does look like it's going to be a difficult comeback for Salubris to make. But he has been playing pretty darn well for the first couple games. And Noel, little bit of a messy stack there. Uh, he might have trouble getting through all that. And yeah, here we go. That's a KO for Salubris, neck and neck here. Salubris taking the lead in line sent. We'll see if Noel is able to either equalize or find some way to get through all this. But yeah, his board is so messy here. Oh, another misdrop. Noel falling apart at Salubris's hands here. Just couldn't hold on to the lead here, it looks like. And yeah, finally gets through all the garbage. But again, it might be too little too late. Noel needs to find a KO. He needs to do a lot of things here. And eating another KO is definitely not one of the things he needs to do. So yeah, this game looks pretty much sealed. Nice little Imperial cross there from Salubris. In all spins, you can actually convert, instead of doing both T-spins, you can convert it into a L spin as well as a T-spin. Uh, Fun fact about all spins. But yeah, that's going to be a pretty convincing 3-0 from Salubris. A close game too, but Noel was just not able to clutch out that final game. So it's looking like we're going to have Salubris against Cheap in the grand finals today. Uh, so yeah, can't wait to see how Salubris against Cheap is going to go. Yeah, seeds 1 and 2, I believe also coming into the tournament. They were seeds 1 and 2. Uh, would have been my prediction as well for the grand finals. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, here we go. Both players saying good luck, have fun, and both are in the room. So, yeah, and here we go. Grand finals between Cheap and Salubris in the Worldwide Blitz number 3 Chaos Edition. Seems to be starting here. And yeah, Cheap focusing a lot on the upstack. Interesting stacking method, but disliking the sort of 8-1 stack he had and ditching it for a sort of 5-4 stack, it seems. But playing very variable, very close to the bottom, and yes, the Lubers already encountering a lot of difficulties compared to sort of Cheap's huge force when playing, and his crazy results also speak to that. Uh, even though Cheap isn't exactly a renowned all spins player, it's very difficult for any player to adapt to all spins, and I think that's true for both Cheap and Salubrious. But as I say that, Cheap, a huge quantity of misdrops there, might have been almost a little gift there to Salubrious. Uh, and yeah, we'll see if that's going to matter. But Sheep gets through it so quickly, able to get a second KO already on Salubrious, only like 10 seconds after I saw his horrendous looking stack. And yeah, Salubrious having a bit of difficulty, finally does manage to get a down stack going. But it does seem a little too late, unable to get a KO there on Cheap. And it looks a little difficult here for Salubrious to adapt. But as I say that, Cheap having a little bit of difficulty of his own, but his huge speed advantage does seem to be compensating for that, as he manages to just execute so many T-spins, send so much garbage. That's a third KO for Cheap there, and this looks like game one is already sealed and in the bag for Cheap. And yeah, still able to just execute all these T-spins. Very impressive play from Cheap, just never letting up. Even when he misdrops, is just he never gives up, and he's always able to downstack so impressively and quickly. And yeah, it's definitely paying off here. Uh, 4-1 in the first game is very convincing. So we'll see if Salubrious is able to adapt. Uh, but if Cheap just makes fewer misdrops, it seems pretty clear that he won't be having very many issues here. An interesting triple IP start, it seems, for both players here, which means since it's a 21 bag system, they won't be receiving an eyepiece for a very long time. And I think as a result of that, both players opting not to go for a Tetris stack. But Salubrious, very nice down stack, able to get a quick lead on Cheap here. We'll see if Cheap is able to strike back here, but Salubrious does hold the lead, opting to go for the sort of donation T-spin single, but it does break back to back, and that does cost Cheap KO here. And Cheap, again, upstacking very cleanly here. 6-3 stack, it's always a good way to go, and even in all spins, it seems. And it's definitely paying off from that huge deficit we saw at the beginning. Cheap and now literally just playing sprint here against his opponent, and it seems to be working out very nicely here. A little bit of a misdrop on the eyepiece, it seems, but it's still looking really good. Salubrious, bit of a messy play field here, and yeah, Cheap still just managing to continue up this huge lead, even with the deficit at the beginning. Now Cheap in a little bit of a dangerous position, does eat a KO there. Oh, very nice STSD. But he does need. Oh, is he going to convert it into a fractal? Yeah, does need to downstack that eventually. Unfortunately, the way he built his stack required an eyepiece to fix it, and just too many T pieces were coming up for him that he just couldn't upstack any further without taking an enormous risk. So I'd argue good decision made there by Cheap. And but Salubrious still coming back just a little bit here, tying up the KOs here at 3-3. So he is unfortunately still 30 lines behind. So it does look like this is going to be game here. But Salubrious definitely showing his potential and his improvement in that second game. Is this first to five? I think it's first to five. If it's first to five, Salubrious will still have some time to make some adaptations here to his playstyle, and find some way to improve at the chaos and all spins uh, sort of stacking. But yeah, Cheap just staying extremely clean here. You can't really argue with that. Just his 6-3 stacking seems to be working immensely well here. And yeah, it's very impressive how Cheap manages to just continue with such speed. And he's just managing to. Oh, is that a nice little Z spin he has set up there for himself? Very interesting decision to sort of go for that, but really exploiting the all spins to his advantage. But as I say that, does eat another KO. Very close game here, only 20 lines separating both players. So Cheap definitely seems to be the more aggressive player, where Salubrious is focusing more on down stacking here just to try to stay clean against Cheap. Because if you misdrop against Cheap, Cheap will, in all his vast aggression, capitalize on the mistake. And I think Salubris is known for being quite a safe player as well. So I think that's a strategy that seems to be working out very well for him. But as I say that, a couple of misdrops, and as I say, Cheap capitalizes on them very well. Another 4-1 lead here, looking a lot like Game 1 between these two players. And it's going to be very difficult for Salubris to come back here. As I say that, does get a KO, but again, maybe too little too late here, as this is going to be very difficult to come back from. And Cheap with a 3 wide here, trying to apply a lot of pressure to Salubris, and does so successfully, it seems. Very interesting spin there from Cheap, exploiting SRS to sort of to get his piece where he wants it faster. And yeah, that's game 3 going to Cheap. And yeah, first to 5 here, so Salubris does have 2 more games. We'll see if he's able to make this a non-clean sweep, but we'll see what happens. And yeah, Cheap already a little bit of a misdrop here. I think it was considering the T-spin triple, but opts to not go for it because of those misdrops there. And yeah, Cheap in a little bit of a dangerous spot here, has to downstack quite a bit. Does manage to get to his garbage. We'll see if he's able to get down his garbage. But the way he's playing, it definitely looks like he is. Very clean downstacking and setting up of T-spins there. And that seems to be working extremely well against Salubris, who just doesn't seem to be getting the same damage output. Both players playing at relatively similar speeds, just Salubris seems unable to not both keep his stack clean and send the necessary damage to really put Cheap in much trouble here. Going for a bit of a risky STSD here. Oh, but that misdrop is just going to close off the STSD hole for him. We'll see if he's able to get through that. Oh, unfortunate, like 2-3 misdrops there. And yeah, we'll see if Salubris is able to come back from this, but it's looking very difficult here, especially with the play field looking like that. And the 5-0 KO lead is pretty reflective of that. Cheap, meanwhile, just no mercy, just keeps piling on the damage. And yeah, Salubris tops himself out. Realizes there's nothing more to win here. And yeah, that's game 4, also going to Cheap here. We'll see if Salubris is able to make the necessary adaptations in game 5. But it's going to be very difficult to come back, especially against a player of the caliber that Cheap is. It's a very impressive player here. It's always great to have him here play in our little tournaments here. But yeah, oh my goodness, Cheap already with a massive spike. Bit of a spectating glitch here for Salubris. But before it glitched out, it did seem like he had a couple misdrops. Does seem to have fixed them since he is down stacking his garbage. But putting an eyepiece over the garbage might not be the best idea. But back to Cheap screen, it does look like Cheap is just playing very efficiently and just playing well. Not taking all spins into account very much at all. Just trying to stay clean with his T-spinnery, and it definitely seems to be working out here. And opts to save that J spin there. So is taking all spins into account a little bit more than I would have expected, given especially the past games. Very nice S spin there. But yeah, sticking mainly to T spins and still playing very consistent. And yeah, Salubris again having a lot of trouble here. 6-0 KO lead for Cheap. And it looks like that's going to pretty much seal the deal here for him and his Worldwide Blitz number 3 victory. I don't know how Worldwide Blitz 2 ended, but this might be his 3rd win in a row here, which is very impressive record, especially for Cheap there. And he may be trying to work his way towards the number 1 spot on the Worldwide Combos leaderboards. But yeah, Cheap just 7-1 lead. Even eating the KO, he's still in such a clear spot to win here. 213 lines sent, 216 here, 218 even in the end. Very impressive. And that's going to be a clean victory there for Cheap against Salubris. Clean sweep. Cheap did drop one game to Salubris in, not in pools, in the quickfire phase, but otherwise dropping 0 games in the whole tournament. Congratulations to Cheap for his worldwide Blitz #3 win. Yeah, I think with that, unless Noel does want to do that third place match that I was talking about. Yeah, Noel. Unless Noel does want to do that, I think we're going to be signing off here. But thank you for joining us today. It's always nice to speak to everyone in the chat, and it's always nice to be able to commentate these great events. So I'm very glad that I'm here. I appreciate it, guys, and I hope you have a nice day.